All right, thank you. With Dave Poulin and Jamie McLennan, we know there's some Golden Knights and Panthers fans sprinkled across our country, but for the majority of Canadian fans, it's a weird final because I don't think we have strong feelings towards either team, and we just want to see a really entertaining Stanley Cup final. Was that game one a pretty solid sign we're going to get one?
I think it was a very good sign. The two best teams going in that were playing the best were Florida and Vegas. And so the two right teams were there without a question. And to see them go like they went right from the start, you didn't know if there was going to be a rust factor, particularly with Florida, 10 days off. It didn't look like that at all. It was nicely physical, 2-2 at the end of two, and a great pace to it. I like the way the individuals were playing. I like the way the teams were playing. I think both coaches at the end of two would be going, hey, we've got a series here. We know that right now. It did get out of hand a little bit late in the game, but a pretty well-played game through most of it.
And there's no wading into it. It was almost like both teams were trying to establish themselves immediately. The Florida Panthers, they played loose, they played driving, they were trying to generate some chances. And Vegas, who plays such a structured game, wasn't backing down, and they were able to generate a lot of high-quality chances on the goaltender. So I like the pace of the game. Yes, it got chippy near the end, but both teams hit the ground running.
All right, let's get to the nuts and bolts of how this thing was decided. So you mentioned 2-2 game, mid-third, could go either way. How does Vegas take this over?
Well, for me, honestly, it's Bobrovsky who's brilliant. He makes two big saves, and then Whitecloud ends up scoring. But as I mentioned, it got a little bit chippy, and Florida was loose all night long. Here's Bobrovsky with a two-pad stack. Brilliant on the back door. Barbashev, big save as well. But through the seam, Whitecloud changes the angle. Through the screen of Duclair, Bobrovsky doesn't track it, and it's the back of the net.
Mark Stone makes it just a little over 6 minutes to go in the game. Picks off that Tkachuk pass. This is so Mark Stone, one of the best sticks in the league. This one was contested and challenged, but a good goal. That's the thief right there. I once asked him about stealing pucks. He said, when I was young, I wasn't a great skater. I didn't have any choice. If I wanted the puck, I had to steal it.
When Vegas made their first Stanley Cup final, one of the defining moments was that Braden Holtby paddle save on Alex Tuck. If Vegas goes on to win the Stanley Cup, will the Adin Hill paddle save tonight become legendary?
Absolutely. This is the save of the playoffs, and it's the timing of it as well, because if he allows that goal, that gives Florida life early in the second period. Now, it's a desperation save, but it doesn't matter. The goaltenders, they get help as well. Alex Pietrangelo digs it out of a wide open net, but that paddle save alone is a brilliant save on Nick Cousins. Again, desperation, throws everything he can, gets enough of it to keep it out. So that is the save of the playoffs, and it could be your TSN turning point in this series this early in the series.
Ooh, TSN turning point, perhaps an ultimate performer a little bit later on tonight as well. Not much history between these two at all. I mean, Vegas has only been in the league a few years, but animosity can grow exponentially in a Stanley Cup final, and we saw early signs.
Well, there was one incident really early in the game, and you don't know. You're still often in the last series. I think it's different in the finals, but as you go through series, you still hate the last guys. You don't hate these guys yet, but they got it going pretty early, and Adin Hill, right in the middle of it, gets a couple of great shots in. Only 1 2-minute penalty in that first one, and Florida scores a shorthanded goal at that point. But late in the game, clearly targeting Alex Pietrangelo. He was taking shots from every which angle. Big Nick Hague trying to get involved. He took a few of his own, and it didn't get a little out of hand, particularly with Florida late in the game. But at that point, it's 4-2, and they're thinking, we're sending a message because this is going to be a long series.
And it's the same cast of characters that the Edmonton Oilers tried to go after. It was Hague, and it was Alex Pietrangelo. We saw the reaction. Pietrangelo, by the end of that Edmonton series, he'd had enough, so he took the suspension. But ultimately, the Florida Panthers are clearly targeting the big defense on the back end, and Florida not shy to be a little bit chippy, and Matthew Tkachuk right in the middle of everything. Nick Cousins as well. Yeah, shocker as well, but certainly Alex Pietrangelo chipping away at him, trying to take a piece of him, even though they left the game on the table tonight.
Vegas wins game one for the second straight Stanley Cup final that they've been in. Remember, the last time they lost the next 4 to Washington. They'll try to do an alternate ending this time.